Hello and welcome everyone to this webinar on Kahoot 360, the next generation of corporate learning. My name is Evelyn and I am the community specialist for our business users, which is you guys, which means that I keep you up to date with all of the latest and greatest and all of the newest features and all the plans, and now Kahoot 360 as well. And today I am joined by Antoine, who is our account manager in the sales team. So Antoine, if you would gladly introduce yourself.
Yes, hi Evelyn, hi everyone. My name is Antoine, and like Evelyn said, I'm an account manager in the sales team at Kahoot, and today I'm very excited to co-host this webinar with Evelyn.
Great, welcome Antoine, and I'm so happy you're actually joining me for this webinar.
That's
so first, let me go through a couple of housekeeping things. First off, if you have a question at any point throughout the webinar, just add it to the Q&A. You can see it in the bottom. It looks like this Q&A box. Since we won't be looking at the chats, please put all your questions in Q&A and we'll try to get to it by the end of the webinar. If we haven't yet because of time restrictions, just send us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So without further ado, let's jump in. First, a quick recap on what Kahoot actually is, since some of you might not actually have heard about Kahoot or played it or both. So first, we are the leader in gamifying learning in the workplace, which means that our platform makes e-learning, presentations, and training super engaging. And we do this through quizzes, which we call Kahoots. And here you can see a couple of screenshots already of how the Kahoots actually look. So businesses, they use Kahoot in a lot of different ways. First off, for e-learning, you could do training in person or remote, which is exactly what we're doing today. You could use it for interactive presentations, as well as for compliance training, products, or sales training to engage audiences at live and virtual events, or even as onboarding for new hires. And this is something we really like to do. So you can create a whole course and a whole setup of Kahoots for your new hires. And we'll get back to that in a second. So there are two different ways you can play Kahoot. The first way is to play via a live game, which could be in person or via video conferencing, which is what we will be doing in this webinar later today as well. So here you see a quick screenshot of how a Kahoot looks. You always have a question and a couple of answer options. And then all the participants, they just have to log in with the game pin and they get the answer tiles. So they don't see the questions and answers on their own screen. They see everything on the host's screen, which is why you have to share your video, your screen during video conferencing. The second way to play is with the Kahoot challenge. These are self-paced Kahoot games, which means that people see questions and answers both on their own screen, and this can be played at any time. You're still competing against other people that have also completed the challenge, as well as people in your own trainee class. But you can do this at any time, which is fantastic for companies that are dealing with different time zones or just locations, different parts of the world. With that, let's get into Kahoot 360, since you are all here to learn about this. So Kahoot 360 is our complete package for corporate learning, which is skills for enterprises. And just to give you a quick overview before Antoine goes into the features and shows you a live demo, there are a ton of different things you can do with 360. It is our most encompassing and complete full pricing plan that you can get. So with this, you can create, deliver, and track engaging training on any topic, which means that you can actually identify your trainees and see who has completed this and all the Kahoots and all the challenges. We do this via you asking people for their email address. Then there are you can access company-wide training resources, as you can share your Kahoots with everybody in the company that needs to. And then you can also empower your trainees to contribute to training content, as you can start creating teams and groups in which people and your trainees can actually share all the content themselves. And you get access to powerful presentation features. With this, you can actually import your slide deck into Kahoot and then add real-time audience participation questions in between. This is something we'll also show you very shortly how this works. This is a great way for you to give your audience a voice. So it's not just you presenting on everything, but you're actually getting instant feedback from the people that are looking at your presentation and are participating in your training. And then it's a great way for you to strengthen company culture. As with this, you can do company-wide knowledge sharing. You can share all the Kahoots and all the information with everybody. And you can engage all your employees in social learning experiences, as well as set up amazing onboarding programs, which completely take your new onboardees through everything they need to know. So with that, let me hand it over to Antoine, who will take you through all of the different amazing features we have to offer.
Thank you, Evelyn. So to continue on what you were saying, I'm going to go through some of the great features we have on this plan, Kahoot 360. So you will have access to all of our question types to help you create more engaging and interactive sessions for your audience. And we will go through this when we jump straight in the platform after this. All of your trainers, as well as the admin, will have access to your shared team space where you can store all of your content and also have everyone collaborate on the created content. We do have on our Kahoot 360 plan an integration with Microsoft Teams that allows you to remain in the Teams environment where you are playing live games and sharing challenges in your different Teams channels. We also have an enhanced branding experience with different logos, etc., that we will also see when we play the game. And finally, because we know it's very important for all of you business users to have basically the ability to import your slide decks into your Kahoot for more interactive presentations. And this is possible now on Kahoot 360. This was about the creation aspect. Regarding the insights, we give more analytics and more insights into the reports. So you can now, with the ability of identifying your players in your games, track your participant performance over time and over training sessions. And it also gives you the ability to combine several reports together to do a type of tournament with several games in it. On Kahoot 360, you also have the ability of assigning this self-pay challenges that Evelyn mentioned before via emails, and it helps you to keep track of who has completed the challenges, and you can also send reminders. And finally, on the insights category, we have organizational level reporting where the admin of the account will be able to see basically the usage of Kahoot in the team in terms of live games, challenges, and also top host in the subscription. We have this great feature on the single sign-on that has been requested for a long time now, and it's available for enterprise with 100 or plus hosts. This is something that you can just contact us if you want to know more about this feature, and we'll, of course, give you more details on this. And the coming soon, because we continue to deliver more and more features to help basically make your trainings more awesome and more engaging. So you will be able to create both training courses for your existing trainees and also onboarding courses for your new hires with combined leaderboards. Once you create these courses, you will be able to assign these training courses or onboarding courses to them via emails, the same way we do it today on Kahoot 360 with challenges. And I also mentioned right before the automatic reminders. That is also a feature that's coming soon to help you keep track of who is completing these trainings and how they perform into it.
That's great. So thank you, Antoine, for that. So now I'll stop sharing my screen so you can take everybody through the actual platform.
Sure.
If you would just share your screen.
Yes. And right now, and you can confirm, Evelyn, if you can see the website.
I can.
Business. Awesome. So before I jump straight into the platform, I would like to just spend a minute on the website where I am at kahoot.com/business. Here you will find some great information on Kahoot for Business, some words on how Kahoot works, but of course we will get into this in a minute, and also some great stories that can give you inspiration on how other businesses are using Kahoot in their business environment. And before I jump in the platform, I also want to encourage everyone to have a look at our news section. And you can just filter by Kahoot at Work, and you will have some great stories and articles that we publish to give you ideas and inspiration on how you can use Kahoot and maybe some of the features you haven't thought of before better in your company. Now that we are on the website, if I click on login on the top right corner, I will end up on the platform. And right now I'm connected on our account. And I end up on the Discover page, which is essentially a public library that contains hundreds of millions of Kahoot that you can play directly from here with your team at work. And we also have some publishers that are making pre-made content and of course of quality. We also have created a collection on how to connect better with your colleagues remotely, and I encourage you to have a look at this. This was the Discover page. Now for you as an organization, you will spend most of your time on the Kahoots tab, which we're going straight into now. And the Kahoots tab is mostly divided into two main spaces. The first one is called My Kahoots, and it's going to be my private and personal space where I can create my games and store them in different folders. We also have, and you will have this, of course, as a business users with several trainers in your subscription, you'll have access to what we call the team space. And the team space is where the magic happens. You will be able to have your trainer colleagues part of this team space, part of this environment, where you can all create your content and launch your games, whether, like Evelyn mentioned, it is a live game or a self-paced challenge. So everyone having access to this space will be able to create content, store them in different folders. Like you can see, we have created today some onboarding folders, sales and marketing, etc. And if we, Evelyn and I have access to this team space, I can launch games from different folders. That's it for the team space. And before we get into creating our Kahoot together, I would like to show you that when I choose a certain Kahoot and I want to play it, then I am offered the two options that Evelyn just mentioned, where you will see the first one is a live experience that Evelyn mentioned, where this will be to play a Kahoot all together with someone facilitating the session, which we will do today. Also, self-paced challenges. This is something that you create and you assign to your trainees, and they can complete the challenge on their own. So keep in mind that for each game that you create, you will always have these two game modes to deliver the content. And now we're getting into the fun part. We are going to create a Kahoot. So I just need to click on Create on the top right here. And then I end up in the Kahoot Creator. The first thing you see is we propose some templates. So we want to give you some inspiration on how to create great sessions and impactful Kahoot. So you can have a look at them. For example, use this quiz in your sales training. You want to poll your employees to get feedback, etc. Those are Kahoots to give you great ideas. For today, we will take a blank Kahoot, and we are now into the creator. What you see here is a quiz question. So of course, on the top, I will be able to type in my question. And here I say how many players can join a live game of Kahoot on Kahoot 360. And to each question, I can have from 2 to 4 answers. So let's write, for example, 100, let's write 1000, let's write 1500, and let's write 2000. Then I need to select the correct answer, which in this case is going to be 2000 in case you didn't know. And to each of my questions, I can add a media. The media can be either YouTube video that will be running while the question's on the screen during the game experience, uploading your own image, or we also give you access to high resolution pictures in the image library right here. The way it works is I have my question, I have my answers, I can click on image library, and here I want something related to game, so I'll just click on game. And I'm thrown into this library of beautiful pictures that you can use directly into your Kahoot. So I want to have this one. In the event your picture actually contains some element of answers and you don't want to show it straight away to your players, you can also use the image reveal that is on the side, where basically the image is going to reveal itself during the time limit that you have given to this question. By default, we have 20 seconds, but you can change it from 5 seconds up to 4 minutes. Another great feature on the quiz question is that you can also create more competition and also give a chance to the players that are a bit far into the leaderboard to get back to the top by creating double point questions. And if you want players to focus more also on accuracy, you can also turn that to 0. The last thing I want to mention about the quiz type of question is that you can also have several correct answers to your question, and then the multi-select will pop in right here, and it means that your players will be able to select several answers during the game. Now, why is Kahoot a lot of fun and considered as a big training platform today? It's because I can add different question types, like I mentioned before, and we are going to cover them all today. So what we have just seen right now is a quiz question type. We categorize 4 question type under the category test knowledge. So we have quiz, we have true or false, which is a pre-populated true or false. We have type answer, which is a type of question where your players will type an answer directly from their device and submit it to the host. We have a puzzle where you will ask your players to drag boxes in a certain order. And this works really well with processes, sorting and ranging. This is something that works well. And then about collecting opinions, we have 3 question types. The first one is poll, which is essentially almost the same as a quiz question, but you don't attribute points to your players, you just gather opinions. Word cloud, where you will basically ask your players to type in an answer from their device, and it will come onto the screen to populate a cloud of words. Open-ended, where you need more lengthy feedback, so your players can type in up to 250 characters into their reply. And this type of question is also great to spark discussions and get a feel of how your crowd is feeling today. And then we have the possibility of adding slides. Adding slides comes into 2 forms. Either you can add slides in Kahoot and create your own slides with a slide title, with a media that again can be a video or an image, the text of your slide down here, and that's a slide built into Kahoot. Now, what I mentioned before about importing your slide decks into Kahoot 360, it's this button over here. So you'll be able to directly import your slides, and I will just do it quickly to show you what it looks like. So I need to select a slide presentation, and I click here. I can just wait until they are fully imported, or I can just keep editing while importing my slide. I will actually get a notification where all my slides are put into my Kahoot. What we do while we import the slides is actually converting them into a picture. So this is important to know, because once your slides arrive in your Kahoot, you won't be able to edit them. And here you go, I can see my slides. They come at the bottom of my game, and I have imported 3 slides over here that we have made with different tools. And now I can also move them around. So if I want this one to be the very beginning of my session, I can have a slide. And why do we say that this helps you to deliver more interactive presentations? It's because instead of having your audience passive and listening to a PowerPoint presentation, here you can actually have different questions between your slides, and you keep your audience active and engaged into your presentation. So if after this question, I actually wanted to have a word cloud, I could just do it and add a word cloud question with a media. And then, like I said, I can just move them around to get the optimal presentation. And that's how you create an engaging presentation with Kahoot, by mixing up all of these question types and give the chance to your audience to experience a great presentation and be part of a game experience as well. Last thing that I need to mention before we actually jump into a Kahoot is when you finish creating the Kahoot, you will need to give it a title and then a quick description, maybe, because you are several team members in your team space and it's good to know what the Kahoot is about before you play it. You will be given 2 options to save your Kahoot, either your private and personal space, like I mentioned before, or your team space so that it's available to the rest of your team members. And the last thing is branding. Branding is, you will see it, it looks great. You will have the possibility of seeing your organization logo in different screens during the game experience. And this is something that we think looks very cool. So that's how you create a Kahoot. Now, I think with this, we will actually go into launching the game that we will play all together. And of course, I need to mention that every time you play a game, whether it is in a live game or in a challenge, we will always generate a report for you with great game analytics where you can track your players' performance in the training sessions that you will find on the reports tab on the top over here. So I guess, Evelyn, we will launch the game and we will then click on play and also present because we are going to run a live session all together. So please get your devices. And right now we are given two options basically to launch the game. We will play player against player. And I also turned on the player identifier so that you also have a feel of what it looks like to join a game with this option on. I will launch the game and please get to your devices, either IT from an internet browser or directly from the app. You have the pin 295731. Get into the game and you will see player identifier in this case. Please get into.
Antoine, maybe we can turn down the volume a little bit more so we can hear you better over it. That's better. Yeah, no, a little bit less. Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, I turned it off.
It's a fine line between off and on. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. So I'll just wait a few more minutes before we have actually a couple more people. And also to give you more background about this game, we try to create a game where we mix up the question types like I showed you in the creator, and you will be able to see a quiz, a poll, a puzzle, etc.
I see that someone is wondering what the instructions are. So just go to kahoot.it in your browser. You can have one browser next to the other one, so you can see the Zoom link as well as have kahoot.it. And then just input this game pin, enter your email address, and then put in your username, and you can play.
We waited 1 more minute before we launch the game.
Sounds like a plan. I do encourage everybody to actually join the game, as playing it and seeing all the question types live is the best way to understand Kahoot.
Yes, more players.
I think we can get started, and the game pin will still be visible underneath the screen.
Yes, so you can join the game anytime with the pin. More players, and I guess we can start now. So before I just hit the start button, I also wanted to mention that I turned on the branding so that you can experience what it looks like. So you will see at the beginning an animated logo that comes before the game starts. So we're 15 players. I think we should go now. Let's go. So first of all, we will announce the question type when it comes. And we're starting with a quiz question that is multi-select. So you have the ability to select several answers into your question. What is Kahoot? Is it a learning management system, a learning platform and content library, interactive presentation tools, or data analysis? Yes, the correct answers were the blue one and the yellow one. So Kahoot is not an LMS and it's not a data analytics tool, although you will be able to see some game analytics into the reports. But most and foremost, it's really a learning platform, like I presented, where you can create your learning content into your Kahoot, and of course, make your presentation more interactive. So I just want to mention that after we're done with the question, you'll be able to see how your crowd has answered. And we see that they are more correct answer towards the correct answers. And every time we're done with the question, I have the possibility of going back to the media that we chose for that question. And remember, this question can be a picture or a video. Moving on to the next, we see a top 5 leaderboard. So congratulations, Chris, too. And now we're moving on to a poll that is multi-select. So don't worry, there is no points involved in the poll. Your opinion on how Beautiful. So here you can see the amount of answers per different answers that we had, and also the percentages in each answer. And of course, training, learning, and development, you can see is 92%. So it's very interesting for us to see that. Moving on to the next one is a true or false. Oh, that's a difficult one. Kahoot 360 is our best offering for the most engaging learning experiences in the organization. True or false? Yes, it was true. And that's why we're trying to cover this topic today, because we think it's important that you learn about this plan and that you know how to navigate the platform. Moving on to next, Chris2 is still on the top and Ariana is second. Now we are on a quiz question that is also multi-select. Which training features are exclusive? Yes, basically they were all correct except assigning self-paced challenges, because you can actually do that on all plans, but you can only assign self-paced challenges via emails on Kahoot 360. For the rest, like we mentioned, we can do the branding of the Learning Hub, which is the app. We turned on player identifier today, where you entered your email address while joining the game, and the single sign-in option that we discussed for enterprises. So let's move on. And Chris is still on fire. We have Sue and Ariana still on the podium. And now we're going into a puzzle that is double points, where you can place the boxes in the correct order on how can you track participants' performance over time. And I'll stop talking and just let you think, because that's a difficult one. Don't forget to submit the answer once you have placed the boxes in the right order, or at least the order you think is right. Submit the K and your answer will come to us. 10 seconds left. Yes, so now we see 27% of the crowd today got this correct. And of course, we need to go through this a little bit. We need to first host a first Kahoot with player ID, which we're doing right now. And then as an example, your second game could be a challenge. And here we say you would send up a follow-up challenge with player ID. And then you would have the report of your first live game, the report of your second game, which is a challenge, combine them together and discover the overall winner of that game series. Moving on, we see that Chris is still killing it and Linnea and Sue are on the podium. And right now we are on a slide. So with Kahoot 360, like I mentioned, you can import your slides just like this one to make an interactive presentation. This is very helpful if you already have all of your content created in some slide decks that you don't want to recreate in the Kahoot slide. You can just import it and you will see it like this.
I also want to chime in here that this is really great for Kahoot challenges, as you won't be there to actually teach people things during training. So you can put all the information that people need to know on the slide itself instead.
Exactly. Moving on, type answer. So here, with a Kahoot 360 plan, up to how many people can participate in your Kahoot? I think we actually covered it. But from here, you're just typing the answer from your device and submit. 5 seconds. Yes. So here we'll see the different answers, and we will only keep the one that was correct, and that is 2,000 people. So you can have up to 2,000 people, both in your live games and in your challenges. Moving on. Wow, this is a pretty impressive scores. Another true false, is Kahoot 360 only for large organizations? Done. Yes, it's not only for large organizations. Of course, organizations of all sizes can use our Kahoot 360 plan in all sizes. And then we are going to the open-ended, which is now you're going to provide us with some feedback on how do you prefer to be trained. And here you can feel free to type a long text. I think it's even up to 250 characters in your answers. When you type your text, you will then have to pick a keyword that you think is important or represents your answer better, and then they will appear right after the question is done. So feel free to explain to us how you like to be trained, and maybe also give more context if you want. Here you choose to type in longer answers compared to the type answer, which is limited in characters. And this feature is great because you will be able to get the feedback from your audience, and you can decide as a host of the session to show it to your audience or to keep it in your report. So by default, we can see that 16 answers were submitted, and that's fantastic. And by default, they are hidden. If I decide to show them, I just need to click on the show answers. And here I'll be able to see all of them with the keyword that you chose, which comes with a random Kahoot color. So that's fantastic, and we'll absolutely look at them. And of course, one more thing I can mention, when you have a lot of answers like this on the screen, you can, for example, click on just one and it will come on the screen as big, and you can navigate through them as you cover them during your meeting. Moving on next, it's a word cloud, so no points, and it's just for us to understand which department in your company you're working. can see that the cloud right now is getting populated, and we don't display the output right away. We keep it at the end when the questions go 1 second. And then we can see that that's a beautiful cloud. Fantastic to see that some of you or all of you work in different departments and still find a really great use case to use Kahoot in your company. Another poll, and that's the last question. What size is your organization? Fantastic. So we can see that there is actually a good portion of people with over 1,000 people, but also small companies, which we obviously love to see. And now comes in my personal opinion, the best part of the game. We have the final podium. So congratulations to you. A bit more sound again, if you mind. Give me a congratulations. And first we got 11 out of 11. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for playing this game with us today. And on this, I will stop sharing my screen and let it to Evelyn.
I think there's one more thing you should show before I stop sharing. If you could go to reports and show a very quick intro of how that looks, since there's a couple of questions about it.
Sure. So
actually, best not to show this report as with player identifier. Obviously, it won't be incognito, but if you show one of the reports played before without player identifier, that's perfect.
Let's do that. So when we go into the reports, you'll be able to see all types of reports. That is a mix of live games with the 4 shapes and colors, and the report of a challenge with the little trophy here. You can sort games hosted by me only, for example, and you can sort them by only looking at live game. So for example, this is the one we played, but we won't open it. You can sort them by challenges, and also all the games where we turned on player identifier. The games where we turned on player identifier, like I mentioned before, we could, for example, select one live game, one challenge, and let's say one other live game, and combine them into, let's say, a tournament, August 2020. And then I just create it. It is going to combine the 3 reports together and be in the last category here, combine reports. Now, if we want to have a look at a game where we don't actually have player identifier.
On the top, there is a how to host remotely, which is just live.
This one, it has
a bit down. There it is, yeah.
So I open the report and I will have basically some quick analytics and cards that you can see here on the summary tab. First one is giving you the percentage of accuracy of all the players. And then in this game, we were 14 players, 8 questions, it took 6 minutes, and you can again share the podium. What's great about being several hosts in your team space is that you will be able to see also which host hosted which games and in which game mode with the date. We identify for you the questions that we think are difficult, which is also giving you some feedback on your session. And the difficult questions are the ones that have less than 35% of accuracy by all of your players. We also identify the players who we think need help, and they are basically the players who got less than a third of the quiz correct and the ones who didn't finish. And then you can dig a little bit deeper with players, where you will see the nickname that was chosen by the players. Of course, if we had turned player identifier here, we would have an additional column right here with the email address or the employee number or whatever you decide. We'll see the ranking, the number of correct answers, the number of unanswered questions, and also the final score of all players. This is if you want to have a view of the players. And then the great thing is I can also click on Nina and see how Nina was performing throughout the entire game per question. I can also have a view per question instead of per player. And here I'll be able to have this brief view of how my crowd basically interacted with my content. And if I was specifically interested in, let's say, question 3, I can also click here and I will have a full breakdown of how each player answered it with the answering time and the points as well. This is basically report. I don't know if, Evelyn, there were any specific questions on report.
There was a question of all of the type answers, if those were also visible in reports.
Yes,
which I can confirm they are.
They are.
Great.
Shall I stop sharing my screen and just hand over to you now, Evelyn?
That's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you for that amazing demo.
Welcome.
And I'll share my screen again. So I hope that throughout this webinar, you've gotten a ton of information and you actually learned how valuable Kahoot 360 is if you're facilitating training in your company, or if you're planning an onboarding class or anything of that sort. And we've got a couple more resources which I'll walk you through before I'll look at the Q&A. So there's a ton more information on our website, and Antoine did a great job showing in the beginning where you can find most of it. And I just want to highlight that we also have success stories which are written together with our customers, and they are sharing how they're using Kahoot, which is a great way for you to get inspired and to maybe find out more different ways to use Kahoot, which you hadn't considered before. Then there's a lot of short guide videos. If you're not sure how to use a specific feature, these are hosted by me, most of them, and I'll walk you through the feature in like a minute or two. They're very quick, bite-sized. And then if any other questions you have and you can't find the answer, you will find it in the frequently asked questions on our support center, which is on support.kahoot.com. And literally all information that you need is on there. And then any other information that you might want, which is not available on that website, you can find just on kahoot.com/business/Kahoot360, which is where you can get all of the information about Kahoot 360, as well as the different plans and what is included in which ones. And I saw one of the questions in the Q&A was about if there is a way for you to get more people on board on your plan. If you just navigate to the Kahoot 360 custom plan, you can add 100 people, which is amazing, which means that you can work together with all of the trainers in your company and share all of the resources that you've made. So let me look at a couple of different questions. There is a question if there is a way to assign, like how you actually assign training to trainees. So if we can see how that looks. So Antoine, if you could navigate towards a challenge report and share your screen with that, and then show how you can actually share training and assign challenges.
Sure. So I'll share my screen again.
And then we can walk everybody through how to actually assign training to trainees.
Yes, so you should be able to see my screen now. And let's say, for example, I wanted to go back to my team space and the exact same game that we just played all together, I want to create a challenge of that. So I will click on assign. And here I have several options. I can find the deadline to my challenge. So if I wanted to end, let's say next Friday at 11 a.m. and then I want to turn on the player identifier, which also will give the player a word about that they need to give some information when they enter the game. And then I can just click on create. When I do that, I end up immediately in the challenge report. And here you can see that for now there are 0 players because I just created it and I haven't shared the game, but I can assign this challenge via email. So for example, let me assign this challenge to me. I'll just type this in with a little message over here and I can click on assign. What happens then is that I will receive an invite into my inbox saying that I've been assigned to this challenge and I can directly play it from the email that I received. Once I start the challenge as a player, I will go through it and I will then appear in the players list over here. If you see that for some reason I haven't completed the challenge, you can also remind me or remind all of your players to complete the challenge on time. Because of course this challenge, we set a deadline to it and it ends in 8 days. And this is something you can do with the reminder. Right now you have the players list at the bottom, and you can see that I have not started, and you can also search by players if you wanted and remind individual players or remind all.
So this is a feature that you now got a preview from because this is actually coming soon. So now you all got a sneak peek into how this will look.
Correct. And one other thing about the challenge is that you can also change the deadline if you wanted to, or decide to end it now if all of your players have actually completed it. Was there any other questions on this page, Evelyn?
Not on this page, no. Great. So there's another question, which is about self-paced Kahoots, if people can actually see all the questions and answers at the same time when people are working independently from a group. And I can confirm that indeed, when you're playing a Kahoot challenge, everybody plays on their own device. You don't need to have a video conferencing or be in the same space for that matter. And you can just play this at your own pace. Then there is a question, how we can use the list of attendees from a live session to use for a later challenge. So with this, if you go to your Kahoot reports that you have done, you can just, when the feature comes out, take out all the email addresses that have actually done the Kahoot and then assign a challenge to those, which is upcoming, and it's a great, great feature. So with that, we've come to the end of our webinar. And the one thing I just still want to show you is where you can contact us. So let me share my screen again. So you can contact us on business@kahoot.com, or you can contact Antoine directly from his email address. And I'll share that again, which is in the beginning. So it's right there. This is his email address. You can contact him for more information. He'll be more than happy to help you. And since this webinar is recorded and actually will be sent out to you next week, Antoine will do that as well, together with some more resources if you would like that. And again, if you have any more questions, Antoine is more than happy to answer them, or you can send an email to business@kahoot.com. Thank you so much. And don't forget to navigate to kahoot.com/business/Kahoot-360. And let me show you that again. That is kahoot.com/business/Kahoot-360. And here you will get all of the information, again, what we have discovered and covered today. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Let me stop sharing my screen. Perfect. Antoine, now we can say thank you to everyone.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.